Welcome back to South Carolina. RPS Solar Pumps is on the ground touring more of our customer sites that have off-grid solar-powered water pumps on them. And of course, we are joined by Jared Grachowski of Southern Homesteads, one of the best off-grid cabin builders on the eastern side of the United States. They're based in South Carolina, and not only do they do off-grid cabins, they also do off-grid water and help install RPS solar pumps for customers in the state. And we are here at one of their customer sites. How long ago did you install this RPS system?
We installed this probably a month and a half ago.
Wow, so this is really recent.
This
it's really
is really
new.
recent.
Okay, so they are going to be building on this property. There's nothing here right now. There's a beautiful lake down on this side. So they are prepping for a home installation, but they haven't gotten to that point yet. They just got the water in first.
And this is something kind of important to know, because a lot of times for people when they're getting ready to build, that water's a kind of a secondary thing. Building and building out a whole homestead like this, there's a substantial amount of time that's involved in this, both from us as the builder and for them. So they did something that was super wise. They did water first. So they came and had the well drilled, and then called us after the well was drilled and had us get them working water out here. They don't have power. At this point, they don't have an address. They don't have anything. They have a tent where when they travel into town and they want to be a part, that they can come stay in. But most importantly, they've got water while they're here. So this is a pretty typical for us well house that we do. This is probably our favorite design to put out. This one's just a little bit taller than a lot of them, and we'll show you why when we get to the inside. But again, solar panels mounted up on the roof, out of the way, clean. Nobody even knows they exist. We are south facing, which is super important for us. Those solar panels are at basically 30 degrees, which is kind of our tilt angle that we need to be. They opted to go with a natural wood board and batten. That all becomes just client preference. We let everything from metal siding to vinyl siding sometimes. So yeah, whatever people want to see.
Could you tell me when the customer came to you and said, hey, I want like off-grid water. Why did they want off-grid water? Like, what was their reasoning?
Their ultimate intention with this property is off-grid 100%. They don't even want power run to the property. So that was their original for the off-grid water. But shorter term right now, from both, if there was an emergency, and again, everybody here is on edge after Hurricane Helene. Everybody saw what that was like in our area. So for their immediate need, there is no power out here. So it had to be off-grid. That wasn't, even if their long-term plan was different, it had to be for now. So for me, again, it's a no-brainer system. It operates amazing, and it will run off-grid or it will run on-grid, and they don't have to do any changes on their end.
Yeah, that sounds great. So you're using some solar panels that you sourced locally that you had around.
Correct.
And then you're pairing it with an RPS 800.
Yep.
So an RPS 800 system, which is a 500 watt motor, helical rotor submersible pump. It's got the RPS controller on it. And then of course we'll see inside some of the other little add-ons that you usually use.
And for us, it's just a note, we stock solar panels. We order them in at a crate load at a time. For my guys, it's a little bit faster for us to install 2 panels than it is for 8. So we use what we locally source on that. So it just works out well for us.
So we've got a hydrant out here, one of the frost-free hydrants.
Yes.
These will be able to just turn on anytime they want during the winter or summer.
Yeah, and this is real important. Right now, this is really their only source of water out here. We just plumbed it to the frost-free hydrant because there's nowhere else to run water. Now, one of the things that's really important about this too, that a lot of people overlook, this frost-free hydrant is here. It also helps winterize this system. One of the things that's real important to know when you're periodic use and you don't have water cycling through, it's really important whether this is a house or whether for this moment it's just a well, for me to be able to shut things off, open a couple of spigots and walk away and know all the water's drained out of my system and I'm good. I don't have to worry about freezes. There's no way to put a heat lamp in here. And like I said, we're in a mild climate, but we do have times when you know, the freezing will come in and it'll sit here for a week and it will cause problems. So for periodic use properties, it's super, super important to be able to do that. And this is a big part of it.
Yeah, I think everybody should have one of these if they're in a freeze location. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So this is the front. You actually put a door on one of these.
We actually put a door on one compared to my own farm. So, and this is what, as we've looked at a few on my farm where there's a rat's nest and wiring and stuff, that's stuff we would never do at a client, and I don't recommend doing it at your place. Just sometimes other tasks drag you away.
No, this is a super clean setup. Like everything is really easy to point out here. So we'll start at the well, because this is definitely different than what you're typically seeing from the top of a well. This huge handle going down. What is this?
So this is a mechanical hand pump. So we can actually just pump this and they will get water from a mechanical basis. So in their mind, from a worst case scenario, everything went wrong, we could still get water because we've got a mechanical hand pump. They don't put out a ton of water, but they're great for an emergency only use.
So you've got that next to, that is above or below the RPS solar pump?
This is above the RPS solar pump. So we set this pump in, and I'm trying to remember on this well, we're only 140 feet deep here. And the yield on this thing's recharging at 75 gallons per minute.
Oh, wow, that's huge.
It's huge. So the well driller, for whatever reason, did not give us static water level on this. We went ahead and measured it, and I think we were like 42 feet, which is pretty standard for our area. Because the yield is so high, just like we've talked about on some of the other stuff, we set that pump at about 100 feet total from surface to ground. So the higher we can keep it up, the less sediment that we're going to collect in that well pump, and the less energy it's going to be if you ever got to take it out. So there's no reason we can only pump out 8 gallons per minute. It's recharging at 75 gallons per minute. That level's never going to drop. So we don't worry about having to go super, super deep.
And this is a 6-inch well, right?
This is a 6-inch well.
So two of those, so a hand pump and a submersible pump, are both down in there. The submersible pump is about 3 inches in diameter, and that simple pump is like what? How many inches in diameter?
It's going to be like 1.25 inch pipe that runs down with a small head on it. So, and truth be told, we've done as many as 3 out of the same well. So we've got one setup that we did that actually has their original 110 pump, very much like the class that we did. It has the RPS pump, and it has a simple pump in it.
All in a 6-inch well?
All in a 6-inch well.
That's really
and so,
impressive.
yeah, so we stagger the height of everything, and so now you're really only dealing with pipe. From a well head perspective, we wouldn't get anything else into that well. For us, when in those circumstances, we're leaving the original well, so that one's going to be the deepest. The RPS will be the next one up, and then the simple pump, because it draws so little, I don't need to be a real long ways below our water level.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So.
Okay, so then you've got, this is wire that is coming up and around to, this is from the RPS solar pump, so then this is being threaded into the controller.
Yep. So, and just a quick note on this, when you wire these, like I said, I'm a big fan of zip ties and just making everything clean. Always, when you're going to return up, this little loop right here, it's called a drip loop. If something happened and water got in, the water's going to run down and it's going to come off of this. And while it's not crisis, if it ran down and into your well, it's always just good practice to make sure that if water hit anything, especially when we're in a wet environment, we're controlling where that goes. We do it on all the exterior, the solar wires out there. They all have a drip loop, so nothing is coming into your building.
I see this copper wire that is emanating up and really neatly into the grounding lug that's right on the controller. So that is just for lightning protection.
Correct.
Yeah, and grounding.
So we do that for lightning protection, and this will actually, per our local code, we actually have to ground solar panels too. So there's an additional wire coming off of our solar panels that'll run down and catch the outside.
Awesome, cool. And this thing isn't on right now, so the RPS system isn't on right now.
It is not. We can turn it on. Let me just go ahead and close.
They just leave it off when they leave?
We leave it off when we leave. And so and in the summertime, they'll leave it on. In the wintertime, they're gonna leave this off so they don't have to worry about freeze.
Easy. So they leave and then...
So, and this is one of the things, as we talked about the frost free out there. Actually, let me turn that off. Good. You can see the pump just kicked on. And again, we're under low light conditions here. We're not a sunny day. It's super, super cloudy. It's pumping some of the air out of the pressure
lines,
tank right now. Yeah.
It probably hasn't turned on for a little while.
Yeah,
so
and we've 100% drained it. So you can see in over the next minute or two, it's gonna really start to climb. That pump is ramping up, and as we're sending water out of this faucet, remember, we're also sending water into our pressure tank. So it just makes it easy for a winterizing. We'll show you how we winterize this before we leave, but they're able just to come in, close 2 spigots, flip the switch, and they've got water.
Sounds great. So then the other part of the system is, of course, this 110 volt to 72 volt converter.
Yes.
And I can hear that the pump operating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And one of the things, and I just want to note, if you're listening to the pump right now, you'll hear a little bit of inconsistency in the pump. It's not real smooth. That has nothing to do with the pump not functioning correctly. Right now we're running 100% off solar, and it just got a little bit brighter, so you'll hear the pump ramp up just a little bit. And then if the clouds come back in, it'll ramp down just a little bit. And that's just the nature of beast. That's the energy that's coming in. And so knowing that's this 100% fine, it's doing exactly what it's doing. This is a month-old gauge, and it looks like it's still operating. It's the one. And you can see we're climbing pressure, and as the clouds come in, it's gaining just a little bit slower. So.
Yeah, so it's set to like 45, 40,
I think
20.
this one's set at 45 right now. And so, and again, the circumstances here, this is a perfect example of we're 100% off grid. There is no power on this property in any way, shape, or form. We still always put these in. If they're here, they're enjoying the property. They've got a small generator. They can just quickly plug in.
Yeah, and this is just so that they can take 110 volt power from either a Jackery battery, a 110 volt generator, or if they had AC grid out here, they could hook it up to AC grid. But that's just a normal 110 volt 3-prong plug, and then they plug it in, and then the solar pump will operate off of the 110 volt power if there's not enough solar power.
Yes.
That's basically it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so just emergency backup. And for us, always standard, the rebuild kit that RPS is nice enough to furnish us with. Oops, we always throw these just in the bottom of the inverter box. It's always there. You never have to think about where it's going to be. So
nice. And they opted for a bit of a larger pressure tank, which is what we always want to see. This helps with additional water backup. So just in case something happens, they have more water inside of this tank ready and waiting to flush toilets and for drinking water. Yep.
And so yeah, so they're good for a fairly long time on this unit.
Nice.
A couple other things that we're pretty big about doing. So for them, they put the hand pump in. This actually hooks to a hose. So we're big about, just setting it up to be prepared. Throw a hose rack in here. Go ahead and throw a hose on it. So in an emergency, if you need things, and again, we do a lot of emergency preparedness stuff along with the everyday. And you don't want to be scattering looking for this. Spend the $15, make it dedicated. It's here. That's the only function it serves. Is in the worst case scenario, we've got what we need
ready to go.
right here.
Nice. And so this has the reverse action pressure switch on it, which specifically matches with a solar pump. And then you've just got a really nice, I think you said that there was a reason why you built this taller.
So if you're going to put in a hand pump, these are going to be longer sections of stout pipe that you have to deal with. So we give ourselves a little bit more room in this to be able to slide these in. Now we do use shorter sections with them than what's standard so that we can be within a well house. I really like, especially property like this where nobody's living here. For me, well houses are absolutely mandatory. Both from a security perspective, we don't want people wandering up and seeing equipment. We don't want people, and you'd be surprised how often people wander across land. I mean, it's with the invention of trail cams, you get to see what you never saw before. I don't want anybody to know any of this exists. All they need to know is there's a garden shed out here, and it's got a locked door. We're able to secure this all in tight. So another couple of things that we do for well pumps, we pour a curb all the way along the bottom. That gives us just a little bit of a rodent barrier on your well house. And then I'm really big about coming back with gravel like this. It gives it a clean finish, but more importantly, it's not a muddy mess if you've got to mess with anything and work on it. And like we were doing that class, I mean, I was a muddy mess by the time we were done because a little bit of the residual water that came out of it. So just a little bit of time and energy right now saves a whole lot of headache later.
And it smells really clean in here. It just smells like nice wood.
Yeah.
And it doesn't smell mildewy or wet in here. It's got like good ventilation, and I love the rock idea because I would not want to be working on plumbing with like kneeling in mud. I'd rather have some gravel in here.
And this, again, we just use standard poly pipe. The whole thing is done in poly in here because there was no infrastructure. We did, again, we just do a standard wrap on everything.
Yeah, you don't need, like we were talking about, you don't need like fancy heat tape. You just did a standard styrofoam wrap.
Standard styrofoam wrap.
Bring it all the way over here, wrap the top of the well casing, and you're all good.
And since they're not living here, we drain the system just to be certain. It's weird, and people, I don't want to say freak out, but people question because of the inconsistency of it. And then they'll say, hey, my pump's not working correct because, we set it to 40 or 45 pounds. We stalled at 37. It's not going anywhere. My pump's just running. What they don't realize is there's not enough solar power right now to get enough power to run up to a full 45, and that's fine. This is just going to idle in its current state until it's got enough power. And that's it. There's no harm, no foul there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's everything. The control pad here is showing you that it's got power, the pump is operating, and that the MPPT, which is just to maximize voltage output from the panels to the pump really efficiently, is operating. It'll blink, but there's no other error lights or low power. Like it's just attempting to work the best it can under like semi-cloudy conditions. It's pretty overcast actually today. You haven't really been able to see.
And one of the things that I just want to point out on this, we do a lot of solar that's not involved in well pumps and whole house solar systems. I can tell you if we were a whole house solar system right now, we'd be getting nothing as far as charging goes. So the fact that the pump is running and everything is operating at a fully functional level with no AC power in these light conditions is amazing. And and I sent you guys the video of during the hurricane. I went out to one of our well pumps, and during the hurricane we still had enough solar to get about 25 pounds of pressure out of the well under rainy, nasty conditions. Oof. And so so it is. But again, part of this is just understanding. I think sometimes we're so wired that we plug something into the wall and it just runs, and like a pump, it would be consistent in sound. And if we plug the inverter in, it would be. But with solar, there is a variation, and we don't have a battery or any kind of median to smooth that out for us. Totally normal, absolutely fine.
Love it. All right. Anything else you think that we should know about this? I mean, the build looks really nice. I think people would love to be able to copy or either like contact you about getting a shed like this done, because I think this well house is really nice. And a lot of people struggle with like, what am I going to do with my well once it's finished? Yeah,
and for a lot of people, it's the rock, and I'm not a huge fan. I like all of my well equipment in a well house. I would prefer that. And again, different climates require different things. For us, I want it all in the one location for a whole host of reasons, but I would prefer it to be out here rather than inside my house or somewhere else. So typically we're going to do a full well house. Even from an equipment perspective, I know it's all outdoor rated. It takes a toll on things. So again, having everything protected, it ultimately will save your equipment. And for them here, ultimately this is a shed. So they've got a place for garden tools. They've got a place that they can store stuff. So it winds up dual purpose for the same.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for giving us a tour, and hopefully we'll see you next time on another one of these solar pump tours.
I look forward to it.
All right. And by the way, if you're interested in touring a solar pump and you're in the Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia area, Jared hosts farm days where he takes people out to solar pumps, talks to them personally about solar pumping, what he's got on his property, and he also is hosting some more workshop classes coming up about how to install a solar pump and even how to do carpentry and cabin builds.
Yep, absolutely.
So look up Southern Homesteads. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
See ya.